Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 2 is fast approaching. You're going to have to make some lineup decisions, so I have my top 24 wide receivers on the week. Your 1 through 24, the wide receiver 1s, wide receiver 2s for your fantasy football league. These are the guys you have to play in week 2. If you're going to ask me, should I play this guy that's not on your top 24 or this other guy who is on your top 24? Play the guy who's ranked higher. It's very simple. That's why we do these rankings. You don't have to ask the start sit questions. These are the guys who should be starting for you this week. So I wish you the best in your fantasy football matchups against your idiot friends this weekend. I hope that you beat them. Let's get to the list. Let's go.
He's a legend.
So let's go quickly through the first part of the list. There doesn't really need to be all that much wait and delay to let you know that Cooper Kupp is still your number 1 wide receiver in fantasy in week 2, just like he was in week 1, just like he was all last year. The Rams are in another great situation playing at home against Atlanta. Cooper Kupp is going to eat. Devontae Adams definitely ate in week 1, led the league in terms of air yards with 190 air yards. In week 1, got 17 targets, 48% of the target market share. On Las Vegas, he is in another great situation this week against Arizona. Definitely easy choice for my number 2. Justin Jefferson's got a little bit of a tougher matchup, a little bit, but he's still Justin Jefferson. He's going to eat. If you have him, you're starting him. He's my wide receiver 3. At 4, Jamar Chase. No surprises so far. People are going to look at that Cincinnati game and say, look at how much volume they got, right? Like Joe Mixon got a ton of opportunities. Jamar Chase got a ton of red zone and end zone targets. Hurst had like 7 or 8 targets himself. They played 100 plays. We do have to bring it back a little bit, pull the reins in a little bit. But Jamar Chase, even on a normal game where they play like between 68 and 72 snaps, is going to be a monster. He remains one of the best, most dynamic wide receivers in the league and should be treated as such. Stephon Diggs, the American hero, is my number 5 wide receiver. Playing on Monday night in that 2-game. But I hate the 2-game Monday nights. I know that fans kind of like it. Hey, I get off of work and then there's 2 football games. I can't stand it. As a content creator, it's like the worst thing in the world for me. It messes up my whole weekly schedule. It messes up my content. I don't like it. NFL, please stop. Please, can we just stop and put these games on the main slate where I want them for daily fantasy? It's just much easier. I don't like it. I don't want it. But if you are here and you like the content, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave me a reply down below with who you've got different. Do you have anybody different in your top 5? I don't think that you do, but you might as we go down the list. Number 6 is going to be AJ Brown. Pulled in a great game in week 1, obviously was going to be the favorite target. He is the most talented target for Jalen Hurts. Hurts did not look bad in week 1. Everybody thought that he's this terrible passer. He's going to be terrible. AJ Brown, I myself thought this was going to be a low volume passing game. It does not look like they are going to operate as such, and AJ Brown's going to get a monster share of targets every single week moving forward for the Philadelphia Eagles in what should be a very, very, very good offense, albeit one that wants to operate under playing a whole lot of running backs and a quarterback who ran it 17 times, but AJ Brown can still eat. Tyreek Hill is my wide receiver 7. 4 deep balls last week. Tua may or may not be the guy. You know, people are still going to be up in the air. They got a lot of people with crossed arms saying, I'm not ready to say that he's good. I'm going to continue to believe that he is bad, but if he is going to be good, it's going to be with the wide receivers that he has. Tyreek Hill clearly leading the way. I have Deebo Samuel as my wide receiver 8 on the week, and here is why. George Kittle, still not going to be back. Deebo Samuel, not playing in a monsoon with the rest of the 49ers. Trey Lance actually made, I believe he had the highest percentage of big-time throws in the league last week. So he's going to make some mistakes, the kid, right? He just is. They are massive favorites in this game. Losing the running back that they lost in Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, he's solid. He's gonna work really hard. He runs really violently, but he's not somebody that you can just pile 25 carries on. They healthy scratch TDP last week, Tyrion Davis-Price, the rookie. They have another rookie behind him. Wilson's going to be the main guy this week, but I think that Deebo's going to see 5, 6, 7 carries. I think that he's going to get 6, 7, 8, or 9 targets because of the limited amount of players that they have that can viably receive those amounts of targets. I don't expect this to be a high volume passing attack, maybe 20 to 25 targets a week, but you could see 40+% of the target market share while Kittle is out going to Deebo Samuel. Mike Evans is my number 9, and like it's got that, what's the emoji, the grimace emoji. So like that's where I'm at right now with Mike Evans. Not because of Mike Evans, mind you, more because of Marshawn Lattimore on the other side. If you want to slide Mike Evans down because of this really difficult matchup that he has, that over the last 3 years he's averaged like 6 fantasy points a game in games where they have played New Orleans, I get it. I can't rank him lower right now due to the situations of the players below him. You'll understand as we get there. I still have him notched above them on my projections, but I get it and would be okay if you wanted to slide him down out of the wide receiver 1 conversation on the week and put him as your wide receiver 13. I'm keeping him at 9 because I'm a stubborn old man, and that's just where I'm going to keep him. Michael Pittman Jr. is my wide receiver 10 on the week. He is a little bit dinged up. He didn't practice Wednesday, and news just came out when I was about to record this that he did not practice again Thursday. So keep your eyes open and your ears peeled and monitor the Friday practice report. Wednesday is a totally not important practice report. Thursday, I kind of get like one ear up if somebody doesn't practice on Thursday who also didn't practice on Wednesday. And then if they don't practice on Friday, I'm at, 2 ears up, tail wagging, full attention, everything, right? So like, if Pittman doesn't practice on Friday, I'm going to have to bump him completely off the list, because if you don't practice Friday, you typically don't play on Sunday. Not all the time, but like 90% plus. If you don't practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're probably not going to be ready to go on Sunday morning. So right now he's my wide receiver 10, but we are monitoring that situation. Assuming health, he's my wide receiver 10. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes in as the wide receiver 11 this week. Did not like the targets that Amon-Ra got in the first half of the game, but in the second half of the game, he really showed out and shined. They went to him constantly once this game was not out of hand. Like, it was a 3-point game, right? The Lions lost 38-33. Their defense is not going to be able to contain many people. Washington has a lot of weapons that they can attack at various levels with Gibson and Samuel now becoming at the forefront, Terry McLaurin being as good as he is, the rookie Dotson, Logan Thomas is back. Like, they've got weapons that can attack at a lot of different levels: short, intermediate, long, passing out of the backfield or catching the ball out of the backfield, with a more competent quarterback this year, no matter what you think of Carson Wentz. So like, they're going to score points, and this game does have a high total. 12 targets this week for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not saying he's going to get 12 targets every week, but like, I'm considering his floor to be 7 or 8 targets on a week in, week out basis. He comes in as my wide receiver 11. Mike Williams rounds out my wide receiver 1s because Keenan Allen's not going to play on Thursday night. They play the Kansas City Chiefs. This should be a fast-paced, up and down affair. Mike Williams is going to see higher target market share than he saw before. Nobody's going to soak up 100% of the target market share that Keenan Allen got, but I would not be shocked if Mike Williams ended up tonight with, because I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, with 25 to 30% of the market share targets from Justin Herbert. He comes in at wide receiver 12. We're trying to raise $100,000 this year for No Kid Hungry. There are kids across this country that are food insecure. That means they don't know where their next meal is coming from, and we can do something that helps. Every single dollar that you have will aid us in getting to our goal. The community goal is $50,000. The overall goal, as you can see right below me here, is $100,000, and that's because for every $10,000 that the community raises, that's you, I will match 10,000 up to 50,000. So when you guys get to 10K as a community, I will add 10K myself. When you get to 20K as a community, I will add another 10K up to $50,000, giving us together a grand total of $100,000 raised to help food insecure kids across America. So you can make a difference, be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. If you enjoy the content, please consider being charitable. Brandon Cooks is my wide receiver 13 this week. He heads the wide receiver 2s on the list. Really, really like him every single year. He's a value in drafts every year. Nobody wants to pick him. He's small. He plays on a bad team. He is happy to be there and has a great rapport with Davis Mills. Going to get peppered with targets. Always is going to play. Not always. They'll play from ahead some games. They played from ahead in week 1. I can't say always. More often than not, he's going to be in positive game script situations playing for Houston. And as 10-point underdogs this week, they project to be in positive game script situations for the passing game. So Brandon Cooks, a great play this week. If you have him, you're starting him. Number 14, Gabriel Davis. Came on during late season last year, really had his talisman, the pinnacle of his career so far was that playoff game against the Chiefs. Had a fantastic game in week 1 against the Rams, a very tough defense in their own right. Now he's got week 2. All the attention is going to be paid, and rightfully so, to Stephon Diggs. He gets to operate, does Gabe Davis, against man-to-man coverage literally all the time. Love Gabriel Davis this week. Number 15 and 16. I cannot choose between these two, so I refuse. At number 15, Cortland Sutton, and at number 16, Jerry Jeudy. I'm just putting them back to back. I think that they're going to be so close in target market share, although their targets are going to be different, right? I think that Cortland Sutton, if week 1 is any indication, and last year in games where both were healthy are any indication, Jerry Jeudy is going to run the shorter A-dot catches, like drags across the middle, little quick slants, everything else. He'll get deep every now and again, as is evidenced by the 67-yard touchdown that he caught that was about 25-30 yards downfield. What was it, Monday night? And Cortland Sutton has an A-dot, an average depth of target of like 17.5 yards, where Jerry Jeudy's in that game was like 9.9. He's going to be the shorter to intermediate guy who's going to have to make it happen after the catch, and Cortland Sutton's going to get the deep balls. But I project that they're going to get about the same target market share. I would be shocked if these two at the end of the year were outside, assuming health for both, are outside of 3% separating them. If one has 28% of the target market share, the other's going to have 25. That's enough for both to eat, and I think that they can both eat in the same weeks, which if you're playing daily fantasy is great for double stacks. If you have both of them, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket if it's a season-long league and not best ball. If you have either of them, I'm fine with you starting them as your wide receiver 2 here in week 2. Behind them at wide receiver 17, I have Jalen Waddle. Now, this may be too high, but I'm really high on the talent with Jalen Waddle. I know that he scored a touchdown this week. This is not chasing. This is not chasing the ball around the roulette wheel or trying to play whack-a-mole, right? I just think that he is a very, very, very good talent and will benefit this season from not having to deal with double coverage or dealing with the ace cornerback on the other team. That attention is going to go to Tyreek Hill. They're going to have a safety over the top of Tyreek all the time, and he's going to draw everybody's number 1 like he has for his entire career. He is an alpha wide receiver, which means that Jalen Waddle, who also profiles as an alpha wide receiver in terms of his speed, his route running, and his pedigree, gets to operate against everybody's number 2. He is going to be wide open. He is a premier route runner and has sub 4.4 speed, a 4.3 guy, where if you get the ball in his hands in any sort of space, something that Coach McDaniel is excellent at, he has a chance to break deep ones with the ball in his hands or running under a pass from Tua. So I have him at 17. I understand that I'm higher on him than a lot of the field, but that's where I have him. Terry McLaurin at 18. Great matchup this week. If you drafted him, you're playing him, obviously. You're never considering benching him. I have him ahead of some big names, obviously, on this list, but I think that he's going to deliver. He caught a touchdown for you in week 1. I think that his market share targets has to go up. The offense is just starting to kind of feel itself at this point and is in a really high scoring environment this week in week 2. Christian Kirk makes his debut on the rankings at wide receiver 19. They signed him to be the number 1 target getter for Jacksonville. He was the number 1 target getter for Jacksonville with 11 targets in week 1, a lot of them coming from the slot, which when a player plays in the slot, it does not cap their upside. We know that Christian Kirk does have downfield ability, but what it also does is it gives a player a much higher floor, meaning that you're going to be getting way more serviceable balls from the slot, higher catch rate on balls on routes that you run from the slot, and closer, easier reads for a young quarterback like Trevor Lawrence. I think that he is a safe spot for 8+ targets most weeks here. Whether they're playing from ahead, it's going to be because they went through Christian Kirk, or if they're playing from behind, that's even better for us. He is solid for me this week at wide receiver 19. At number 20, Marquise Brown. Big time game here. Plays against Las Vegas. Hopefully Kyler can lay off the Call of Duty beta that is now out, and he can get his butt in the film room and figure out better ways to get the ball to Marquise this week. With or without Rondale Moore, Marquise is going to be solid. If Rondale's there, that opens up a little bit more downfield usage for him. The Raiders really don't have the outside cornerbacks to be able to handle somebody with the talent that Marquise Brown has, and we're hoping that Arizona can feed him the ball this week. Juju Smith-Schuster is in at 21. Again, that great Thursday night football game. Juju got a good amount of targets in week 1. I think that that's going to sustain. People did not believe in the offseason. Well, he's been hurt. He couldn't do it. Well, he was dealing with Ben Roethlisberger the last couple of years, who was on the back end of his career, and while great head for Ben Roethlisberger and understanding the game and what to call, could not get his arm to cooperate with what his head knew that it should do, and Juju's health was a factor. Juju's TikToking was a factor. Maybe that's not a thing right now. I like him at wide receiver 21. At 22, I've got DJ Moore. Great volume of targets in this spot. I hope that Carolina can get their offense off the ground a little bit more. Robbie Anderson caught a deep ball this week. I think that they have all the pieces that you need. You have Robbie Anderson to challenge deep. You have Christian McCaffrey, where they have to hold linebackers on him. And DJ Moore is an elite, I said elite, outside wide receiver who should command 8+ targets a week. And hopefully we'll get into the end zone more with improved quarterback play, because Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold or Allen or whoever he's had throwing the ball the last 2 years. So DJ Moore stays at 22 for me. Right behind him at 23 is Deontay Johnson. You see how much I target targets. It's just a thing. Volume over everything all the time for me. That's how I play this game. That's how you should play this game. Volume is very, very predictable. Touchdowns are highly variant. Touchdowns come as a product of volume, and specific volume being inside the 20, inside the 10, and end zone targets. We'll get to those. I talk about them every single Monday on Twitter. I tweet a thread out. I put it on YouTube. It's on Instagram, everywhere for you to find it. Target the guys who get those end zone targets, but also have league leading target market shares and tons of targets. Deontay Johnson is just that guy. No matter who his quarterback is, or no matter how strong the arm is on that quarterback, Deontay Johnson is one of the best separators in the league, always finds himself open. And if you're available, your quarterback is going to throw you the ball more often, and he's quite talented at catch. You saw that ridiculous catch that he made in week 1. He did like the Air Jordan pose and came down with a completely uncatchable ball and brought it in for a full PPR point for you plus yardage. At 24, rounding out the list, welcome back Michael Thomas. Great game here against Tampa Bay. I think that he deserves to be on this list, and I've got him over CeeDee Lamb in this spot, who just gets bumped because it's not that I don't trust Cooper Rush, because it's never about trust to me. It's more about potential volume. We've seen the Cowboys before in past years with different regimes, obviously. When they lose their quarterback, when they don't have a really good defense, they have to keep the ball with their running backs. They have two talented ones in Ezekiel Elliott and in Tony Pollard. They're going to have to control the football and limit the exposure that Cooper Rush has to just dropping back constantly against Cincinnati. They need to take shots when they can, but be more selective, which possibly means that CeeDee Lamb's total target number could very potentially come way down, where I believe that Michael Thomas's target number is going to be extremely sticky in a situation in the dome where they're going to have to move the football. I like him in the role that he is in right now, especially considering that Jarvis Landry was second in the league in terms of air yards with 127 in week 1, and Olave can stretch the field. That just means that Michael Thomas is going to be in the short and intermediate range, not having to deal with safeties creeping up on him. You cannot come up on the line when you've got Jameis Winston, who is always willing to throw deep and has the weapons to do so on this team now, and allow Michael Thomas to win consistently at the short and intermediate ranges like he did in week 1, tallying like 2 or 3 end zone targets. Great usage for him. And I think that Jameis is going to have to throw the ball more against Tampa Bay, which means possible 40 targets incoming, or sorry, 40 attempts incoming for that offense, which could mean 10+ targets for Michael Thomas. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.